at the beginning. But before I go ahead and jump into it, for those of you that don't know me, maybe I'll just take a minute and share with a little bit of my, history, my background. I have been involved in the industry now, network marketing, for 30 years. I came to the industry with no business, no professional, no sales background. I was a blue collar worker. Right out of high school, actually, I went to work at a potato chip factory. I was a welder. Started out as a machine operator and, advanced, into the maintenance department, eventually became the maintenance supervisor, building, maintaining equipment, welding, loved what I did. Really actually thought I had the best job I'd ever possibly get. I have a learning disability. I still struggle with it today, which is dyslexia, and really affected my self-esteem or self-confidence. And I was very, very shy and introverted. In high school, grade school, teachers were frustrated with me. My parents were frustrated. He doesn't want to learn, and you get kind of labeled, right? You get labeled, and I was, just kind of labeled and being told that I was, slow, dumb, or stupid. And this really, you hear something enough and you begin to believe it. And I remember being put in special classes, and not with just other children that had learning challenges, but children that had mental challenges, right? And you're looking around and you're saying, is this me? Is this who I am? And so it was a very traumatic, a very difficult time for me in high school and in school. And I was so shy and introverted, I literally wouldn't even say hi to somebody. I just went through school and life really just trying not to be noticed, to be invisible. Got this job at this maintenance department, or this, potato chip factory, and, kind of accidentally, got introduced to network marketing. A friend of mine invited me to his house to look at a water filter. And, given my background, I thought they wanted me to build a display or something, right? Look at the quality of the product, certainly not, sell or for that matter, have anything to do with actually communicating or talking with people. But I got excited about what the product was doing. Didn't understand it. The concept of networking and sales. All I could see was a product that made a difference in someone's water. And I thought everyone needed one of these, right? And give you an idea, when I entered the industry, okay, and all I could see was buying a filter for $120, reselling that filter to someone for $179 and putting $59 in my pocket. Didn't want to recruit, didn't want to sponsor. I tried to keep it a secret. Matter of fact, the first person I brought in was my brother, and that is because we had made a kind of a pact between us that no one else was to know about it. We thought we're going to keep the whole market to us, it's just going to be the two of us. No one else is to know about it. So I just share all that because, if you're, looking at this and you have that question, can I do this? Can this really work for me? Am I good enough? Is this really possible? I'm living proof that, it absolutely is possible. It can, in fact, will, if you give a chance, if you have faith, if you stay focused, if you stay consistent, you become a student of the industry, open your mind up to possibilities. It can absolutely and completely, totally change your life. What's interesting, because people, I tell people all the time, the number one thing, right? The number one thing for success in network marketing is your belief, right? People buy people. It's your passion, it's your posture, your belief, your enthusiasm about what it is you're doing that attracts or influences others, right? So your belief is everything, right? Every time you talk to someone, you're either buying or you're selling, right? You're buying someone's story about why something isn't going to work, or you're selling your story about why it is going to work, right? And this is true in anything in life. Not just Valentus, but it's true in anything. Belief is influence. You can take two people and, one of them has just this rock solid, unshakable belief, and the other person, believes, but they're not willing to stake their life on it, so to speak, right? the one that has that unshakable belief is going to have power, is going to have influence, over the other person, right? And so, one of the first points I guess I would want to make is this, and that is, anything you're able to do to build your belief, right? Because people enter this business, on faith, right? Faith in the company, faith in the product, faith in the compensation, faith in their upline, faith that everything they've heard is true. And they're excited, but they're entering off of faith. And that faith kind of, through participation, through involvement, through listening to the conference calls and, being involved and being engaged, that faith turns to belief, right? And that's where you have to get someone, right? You have to be there first, right? And then you have to get your people there, right? Because belief is influence. Belief is number one. If you don't have your belief in place, you're simply going to struggle. I mean, if somebody is, you're prospecting and they're negative and they make you kind of step back for a minute, right? If they can feel your fear, if they can feel your insecurity about it, if they can sense and feel that you don't really absolutely believe, it's going to have an impact. They can feel it. People can feel it. You've heard that saying, a dog, can sense your fear, right? They can sense your fear. Well, the same is true about people. There's unsaid gestures or mannerisms or something that people they don't even know. In many cases, they can't even put their finger on it, but they can feel it, right? And so this whole idea of rock solid belief is paramount. So anything you're able to do to increase that belief, to make that rock solid belief, and your job when you're there is knowing that your new people coming in, they're excited, they've got fear, they've got questions if they can do it or not, but they're also very insecure. They the least little thing can blow them out of the business, right? Oh God, I knew it was too good to be true, right? They hear a negative or whatever, and it blows them out of the business. And so your job, when you bring a new person in, I always say you need to be like a life support system, right? You need to be plugged into that person. You need to be holding their hand. I always say when you're out there initially with a new person doing that prospecting, and you just send them out to go prospect, right? Go send them it's like sending them to the wolves, right? And if they have a great experience, great. But the likelihood is they're going to run into some negative people, right? They're going to run into some dream stealers. They're going to run into some people that tell them they're crazy. And they're not prepared for that. They're not prepared for that. And that could take them out of the business. And so I always say initially, look at yourself as that life support system. Hold their hand. So you're there to compliment them, to pat them on the back, to say, that's a great job when it goes well. But if it goes bad, you're there to pick them up off the floor, right? You're there to pick them up off the floor and prepare them for that. So our job is to kind of help that person, transition, hold their hand, be their life support system, help them transition from that point of faith into that point of belief, right? And then you can go to that next level, which is passion, right? When you're passionate about something, you just flat out attract people. I mean, I don't care what it is. If you're passionate about something, when I'm talking about passionate about, I'm talking about it consumes your thoughts, right? I mean, you go to bed thinking about it. You dream about it. You wake up thinking about it. You're thinking about it during the day. You're thinking about the possibilities. You're thinking about the potential. You're thinking about what this can do for other people. You're thinking about how this can change your life and how it can change other life. You become just passionate, right? So coming back to that, it's not important that everybody you talk to buys your story, right, about how great this is. The important thing is you don't buy their story. And when you have yourself in that position, your whole business will turn around, right? And, along these ideas and beliefs, and Mitch, you gave me a note that, talked about limiting beliefs, right? And I think we all have limiting beliefs, right? One of the, a story, right, that was told to me a long time ago that made a lot of sense to me, was by Zig Ziglar. And he said people are flea trained. And he said what that means is, he said if you take a fruit jar and you fill that fruit jar full of fleas and you put the lid on the jar he said these fleas go crazy in there. They jump and they jump and they jump, hitting their head on the lid of the jar, just trying to get out. They want out of the jar, right? And what happens is eventually their head gets sore. And so they jump, but just high enough so they miss the lid. And you can take the lid off the jar, and he says the fleas will never jump out of there. They'll die in there because they've been conditioned that they can't jump that high, or their head gets sore, right? And you think about and compare this to life. I mean, that's what life does. Think of a baby, right? When a baby is born, it knows no limitations, right? I mean, we as parents, right, begin to flea train a baby by telling the baby, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And we kind of flea train the baby. Yes, we're building them up and teaching them and all that, but we're also teaching them things they can't, that they can't do. And our beliefs begin, essentially get pushed on and translated or transferred into their beliefs, right? So we have limiting beliefs. And I actually think that this flea training principle or concept, is furthered in school, right? Because in school they're taught what they can do, but they're not taught what that's possible, right? They talk what this is they're putting you in a box, right? They're putting you in a box of what you can do, right? And they create limiting beliefs, and I think it's even furthered in college, right? And so, I mean, you think about a lot of the entrepreneurs in life. They weren't told, they didn't buy into it, right? They didn't buy into the limiting beliefs that they could only do something or so much. I mean, most people that have created something really great in life were told they were, crazy, stupid, you can't do that, right? And to them, it just made their hair stand up in the back of the head and says, you tell me I can't do it, it's all the more reason I'm going to do it, right? But we all have these limiting beliefs. I mean, when I entered the business, I didn't believe I could do anything in sales. I didn't believe I could ever have influence over other people. I thought, if I could make $3,000 a month, couldn't imagine the idea of one of my upline was making $10,000 a month. Couldn't imagine that would have been more money to me in the world, right? But you reach a certain point and then you can begin to see further. I mean, 3,000 was my goal, and you reach it, and then 5,000, becomes possible. And then 10,000 becomes, the mistake some people make is they've never done network marketing. Maybe they've never had really any big success in their life, and they come into this, they get all excited about it, and they've never really made any money in their life, and they think overnight they're going to be a millionaire. Right? I mean, you have to learn, you have to grow, you have to become worth it, so to speak. You're building yourself just as much as you're building your business. So that's another thing that ties into beliefs, ties into overall success, is we have to build ourselves. I mean, it's not just building our businesses, we have to build ourselves, and we build ourselves through personal development, through the seminars, through the videos, through the audios, through the books, all of these things. I mean, I believe it's crucial. I mean, I would never be where I am here today. And folks, it's crazy, when I think the kind of money that, that I'm earning right now, it's, like 12,000 a day, 7 days a week. It's insane. Right. I mean, and it's growing. Right. And so, I had to change my beliefs. Even where I had, I didn't believe. A year ago, I believed that I could earn 100,000 a month because I'd been there before, and I know I could do that, right? I never believed I could do what I'm doing today, but now I do believe because I'm experiencing. So this whole concept, and I know I've dwelled on, taking most of my time up here just on this one point, belief, but having those limited beliefs, we all have them. And that's all they are. We set those limits. We are the ones in our own mind that set those, and we can change those by being around people that believe a bigger picture than we do, being around people and being associated and hearing the testimonials and that personal development, listening to Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale. That probably did more for me in the sense of expanding my my limitations of what I believed was possible in anything, right? So if you're not doing the personal development, I mean, if you're not investing some time, I mean, I turned my car into a university on wheels, right? That's when, you know, it was audio cassettes and then it was CDs. Now it's the MP3s and you have it on your phone and it's easy access. You know, but so that's important. I think that's absolutely crucial. And I mean, that, you know, that saying is, if you're thinking is stinking, your business is shrinking. I mean, you know, which ties into mindset, which we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But the other thing I want to touch on first too, before that, is fear. And because fear is probably one of the things that holds most of us back. And fear, you know, that acronym, false evidence appearing real, right? Fear, false evidence appearing real. I mean, most of the things that we fear aren't real, right? We've created this fear within our own mind. And Jen Melendez, you know, Blue Diamond in the company, she said something, she was talking about fear. And she talked about being fearless, right? Being fearless. And she said that being fearless is not the absence of fear. Okay, you still feel it, you just push through it, right? So you know, just know when you're afraid of something. I mean, it feels so great when you can overcome a fear, when you can move forward in the presence of fear, right? You have that fear of rejection. You have that fear of, what are people going to say, you know, when I'm going to do this? What if I fail? You have that, because those fears is what holds many of us back, right? The fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of what somebody else is going to say, the fear of, oh my God, what if it doesn't work, right? And so that's where that rock solid, you know, that belief will help push through that fear, right? So, but no, you know, being fearless, you know, overcoming your fear is still not the absence of fear. You still have the fear. It's just that you're, you know, Zig Ziglar had a great saying. He said, he says, life is like a grindstone, right? It either grinds you down or it polishes you up, right? I mean, we need to push ourselves against the grindstone, conquer our fears, conquer our, you know, hesitations, and push forward. And that's going to lead me to the mindset, right? And the mindset is ties into all of this, right? I mean, we've all heard that saying: if we think we can, we can. You know, if we think we can't, we can't. Right? It's you know, we are what we think about. That's Earl Nightingale in The Strangest Secret. He says we are what we think about. And so, I mean, where we are today in our life is exactly where our thoughts, you know, what we think about. Our reality is our thoughts, right? And so, you know, so this whole idea of mindset: if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. You know, if you think someone's not going to be interested, you know, you're setting yourself up. If you think you can't do this, you know, you can. I mean, this, you know, what we're thinking about. So changing, you know, I think the key to this, the key to mindset is understanding how important your thoughts are, right? How important what we think about is. And then think a little bit about, and I should say, be conscious then. Be conscious of what we're thinking about. Because you know, we have a conscious and we have a subconscious mind, right? And so our subconscious mind doesn't know good from bad, you know, right from wrong, positive from negative. The subconscious mind only knows what our conscious mind feeds it. And so what our subconscious mind is being fed is what our conscious mind is thinking about all the time, right? I mean, if we're thinking about self-doubt, you know, if we're thinking about limited beliefs, if we're thinking about I can't do something, you know, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's you know, our subconscious mind is programming that. You know, it's just going into our mind and manifesting that. And the same is true is if you think you can, right? You think about possibilities. You think, I'm going to win. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to make this happen. Your subconscious mind goes to work on that. And you know, that whole concept of law of attraction, we've all heard about the law of attraction, right? And a lot of people don't understand the in-depth nature of the law of attraction. It's not a matter of just, thinking about something and saying it. It's a matter of totally internalizing it, totally turning it into a passion, to create a predominant thought that consumes you, right? That consumes you. And I promise you, whatever that is, good or bad, it becomes your reality, right? It becomes your reality. If you let that self-doubt, that negative, that negative self-talk, it devastates you. In a great analogy, or comparison or parallel that about this is by Earl Nightingale, and he says the mind is like a farmer's land, and he said your mind, like the farmer's land, doesn't care what you plant, right? He said the farmer's land will return whatever it is you plant. He says you can take a farmer's land, and he says you can dig 2 little holes, and in one hole you plant corn, and in the other hole you plant nightshade. Nightshade is a deadly poison, and you water and take care of the land, it's going to return to nightshade just as easy as it is the corn, right? And this nightshade, this self-doubt, this negative self-talk, it lives in all of us. It's a matter of, what are you watering, right? What are you paying attention to? What are you growing, right? Are you growing that devastating, debilitating, dream-stealing nightshade? Are we watering the corn, the possibilities, and the possibilities of something really working versus something not working, right? And I believe about the only way to overcome those fears, overpower that negative self-talk, that overpower that stinking thinking, is through positive. You gotta, Zig Ziglar says you need to put enough of the good stuff in, right? I mean, he tells a story about being around a negative person, and he says, when you're around a negative person, one of 2 things are going to happen. He says, either my positiveness is going to rub off on you, or your negativeness is going to rub off on me. And he says, I can't take the chance that that's going to happen, so I can't be around you, right? I mean, it really is true. I mean, if you're around, I joke about it, but it really is true. I mean, there's 2 types of people in this world, right? Those that brighten a room when they come in, and those that brighten a room when they leave, right? I mean, they just suck the energy out of you, right? You're having a good day, and this person comes in and just reeks of negative energy, and they suck the energy out of the room. They suck the energy out of yourself. And so and this is an interesting story too, along those same lines. There's this book called The Traveler's Gift, and it's by Andy Andrews, and there's so much great stuff in this book. But one of the things in the book is he tells a story about other people having influence, and he tells this story. He's talking to this traveler, and it was actually this traveler traveled back in time, and anyway, one of the people he was met as he traveled back in time was King Solomon. And King Solomon asked him the question. He says, do you have a daughter? And he says, yeah, I do. And he says, do you ever worry about who your daughter hangs out with? And the traveler, this guy by the name of David Ponder, says, yeah, I do all the time. I mean, if my daughter is hanging out with the wrong group, the wrong crowd, I mean, we sense it immediately in her attitude and the way she acts, and just, I mean, she becomes difficult, right? I mean, and so, King Solomon says, so, you would say then that the people that you hang around with, the people that your daughter hangs around with, has a direct influence on her. And he says, yeah, it does. And so then he went on to say, and he says, so at what age do you think people stop having influence on you? Is it 18? Is it 25? And really, it's never, right? People never stop having influence on you. It's so look at who you're, there's that, I love that saying that says, if you can't change the people around you, right, change the people around you, right? If you can't change the people around you, then change the people around you. Get around positive light. And that's one of the great things about what we do in network marketing is, for the most part, we're surrounding ourselves with like-minded people that want to do more, want to exceed, want to change their life, want to and embrace this concept of personal development, right? And where if you're around someone who is the opposite of that, they're going to drag you down, right? Zig Ziglar says, you're either going to, they're either going to, their negativeness is going to rub off on you, or your positiveness is going to rub off on them, and you can't take the chance their negativeness is going to rub off on you. So this whole concept about influence and how people have influence over you, it's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. So anyway, that's that's important. I think another thing that's really key here, and that is enthusiasm. I mean, when I first started in this business, I didn't know what I was talking about. And when I was done talking with somebody, they didn't know what I was talking about, right? But they wanted to join me anyway. They could feel or sense my excitement, right? It's not what you say, it's how you feel about what you say, right? It's not what you say, it's how you feel about it. So don't worry about having the everything said perfectly or whatever. Just if you really feel it. People would I don't know what you're doing, but I want to do it too. If you really believe and have that passion, and you're going to have influence over other people. So this idea of enthusiasm, right? And and you can get enthusiastic by listening to personal development. You can get enthusiastic, and get that energy high by listening to something like this, by listening to one of the conference calls, by listening to a Jim Rohn, by attending events. But the key is you have to constantly do it. I tell people personal development is like bathing, right? Because I've run into people and say, have you ever listened to Jim Rohn? Yeah, I listened to him. And have you listened to him again? No, I already listened to him. No, you have to continue to listen to him. It's like bathing, right? If you don't bathe for a while, guess what? You get dirty, right? And you start to smell, and people don't want to be around you, right? And so personal development is the same way. If you don't focus on it, and that's another powerful word, which is focus. What are we really focused on? Are we focused on having the right mindset? Are we focused on the right activities? Are we focused on personal development? Are we focused on recruiting? Bringing that new person in. The only thing that will grow any one of our businesses, right, is new people, right? So, so getting focused. Focus works. And if you want to know what you're focused on, because people will say, well, I'm focused on personal development. Well, what are you doing in the area of personal development? Well, I'm not doing much right now. Well, then you're not focused on it. Are you focused on, I'm focused on recruiting. Well, how many people have you recruited lately? Well, I haven't recruited anybody lately. I'm just helping other people. And so then that's not your focus, right? You want to, everything you do, right, in this business is setting an example of what others think they have to do, right? If you're not focused on personal development, your team is not going to be. If you're not on the training calls, they're not on the training calls. If you're not out there enrolling, they're not enrolling. If you're not doing the three-way phone calls, they're not doing it. If you're not doing consistent follow-up, right? And that's another powerful word, consistency, right? Consistency in everything that we're doing. If we're not consistent, guess what? We're starting over all the time. So anyway, Mitch, I've gone here about 35 minutes. I'll turn it back over to you, and then I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has as well.
Wow, John, thank you so much. That's a ton of great stuff. Unbelievable. So I want to go ahead and open this up right now for some questions for John. John, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. I want to go ahead and open this up. Let me make it where you can unmute. Hang on one second. Maybe. Here we go. All right. Well, I've got it where you could unmute. Well, let's take a few minutes, do some questions and answers. It's not often that we get to ask questions from the top guy, John. Congratulations, by the way. That is an unbelievable achievement. If you're looking back in your childhood and everything, it must be really, really an amazing feeling that you've accomplished what you've accomplished. So,
Yeah,
okay.
it is amazing. Thank you.
Hey, Chuck, does anybody have any questions for John? Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute. I see you there, Chuck.
Hey, John, I'll go ahead and start it off.
Go ahead.
Okay, hey, you know, I really appreciate what you talked about as far as belief and everything, because I really do feel that that is the huge missing component that most people have. Fear, belief, confidence, you know, all of those attributes. What do you think? I mean, you know, we hear from people all the time that, you know, they just have to know everything about the company. They have to know everything about the products. They have to know everything about everything before they feel confident enough to get started. You want to address that real quick?
Well, I mean, absolutely, Chuck, and you know, we you know, kind of grew up in the same school here with network marketing, and you know, this concept of, you know, people, you know, because this is a business where you learn as you earn, right? I mean, if you think you're going to need to, you know, go out and learn everything before you know, can do anything, the reality is you're never going to do anything, right? I mean, you know, it's the learning is in the doing. And so, and that you know, the other 2 points about this is, I mean, again, everything you do, right, sets that example to others think they have to do. So if you know, and salespeople probably are the most difficult in this area. They think they need to know everything. I mean, the last thing is, you know, I don't want to be, you know, have a comp plan question asked to me and then, you know, get stumped, not be able to answer it, right? I don't want to, you know, what if somebody asks me what's in the product and I can't tell them, right? So they want to, you know, they want to know everything. And those that want to know everything typically will never get going, because by I touched on a little bit about the story. You want to develop a story, right? And if your story is, listen, I took the first 90 days, the first 6 months, and I just wanted to figure everything out, make sure I knew everything. Well, again, whatever you do sets an example that they think they have to do. No, I mean, it's going to take you 6 months then to get someone to duplicate, to get going. And by the, you know, you had 2 people, right? Or let's, you know, 2 people, one person, you know, I want you to be excited, tap into the conference calls and go tell somebody about Valentus. You know, the other side, the other person, I want you to study everything, right? And we, you know, once you figure you got it all figured out, then let's go talk to somebody. I mean, who's going to make the money, right? I mean, enthusiasm, sales, you know, the energy and the environment that we have, you know, we have all the documentation. So, you know, my point there, Chuck, and I know you'd agree 1,000% with this, and that is, if you think you got to go know everything before you get started, you'll never get started. You know, you're going to be a casualty of Valentus, of this industry. You're never going to get going. I mean, the best answer when somebody asks you something that you don't know is you say, I don't know, but I'll find out for you, right? There's always someone in the upline can help you. You know, because again, if you know everything, they think they need to know everything. If you take 90 days or 6 months to get yourself up to speed, then that's what they're going to do. And you never get going. So I could keep rambling on that subject because it's so key.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, John. Yeah, so many people are like that, analysis paralysis, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, they'll just keep looking until it just kind of the opportunity is not as good. Okay, so do we have any other questions? Who here has a question? Somebody does, I'm sure. Got almost 50 people on here from all around the world. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I've got a question.
Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, how do you get people through that fear paralysis so that they can begin to duplicate?
Well, I think, you know, one thing, if you have somebody that you think's got some real potential and to help them overcome, you know, the 3-way phone call, you know, having a third person come in and reiterate how important it is to just get going, that it isn't important to know everything. You know, that's one way, I guess, to do it. I mean, I think the 3-way phone call is a tool that you can use to, you know, help overcome, help move forward, help, you know, accomplish almost everything in our business. One of the most powerful tools. So using the 3-way phone call, bringing in a third party to reiterate the importance of just getting going, not figuring everything out first. that having that third-party documentation. I think, I mean, I would probably say that's probably the number one thing. There are your analytical types. There are your people that just can't seem to move forward. Just try to keep them involved and exposed, and maybe someday they'll get it, right? They'll get it and they'll figure it out. And then when they do bring somebody in, if they're, try to get working with that person right away, to help avoid them going into, following that example of analysis paralysis.
So is there some sort of a set play that you try to use? Obviously the three-way call like you talked about, but other ways where you can like do role playing or things like that help them to get more comfortable with it?
Well, one of the things that I do all the time is when I'm, whether I'm doing a three-way with a prospect or whether I'm, I think, Stephen Covey, he has in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. And so one of the things that I do all the time is I ask questions rather than just talk. I ask questions. I try to find out where someone is coming from, right? Try to find out what it is that's holding them back. If they come up with, well, I need to know, what all these ingredients are and what they do and all that. And well, why is that important to you? Okay. So I think digging deeper into a challenge that someone might be having through asking questions and then, why is that important to you? And then helping them, overcome or understand that, that they're creating that challenge, in their mind. It's not real.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, not real. False evidence appears real, right? I often say, it's funny, I often say that little voice talking to you, telling you that you can't do it, and this is wrong with you, and this isn't right, and all this kind of stuff. It's very convincing, it's in your voice that you're hearing it, So anyway, does anybody else have any questions? Bring it on.
I do. This is Joy.
Hi, Joy.
I see my problem is, well, one of many probably, but I'm used to working for people. I'm not used to working for myself. And so having a schedule and all those things is totally different than when your boss comes and says, okay, I need this in 20 minutes. And I'm wondering, when you first help people, who do you have them talk to first? Or how do you instruct them on, or, help them? How do you help them to get started as somebody you just started with?
Well, I think getting them, plugged in is very, very important. When a new person comes in, it's like anything. If someone's not plugged in, they're going to lose their belief. They're going to lose their excitement. They're going to disappear on you, right? I mean, and this is true pretty much with any type of an organization. I mean, church or working out or whatever it is. If it's not, if someone's not plugged into something, they're soon going to be plugged out, right? I mean, the plug's going to be pulled. And so keeping them and stressing the importance of getting plugged in, because a lot of times what's holding someone back from getting started is coming back to the very first comment. It's about their beliefs. They don't believe in themselves. They want to believe. It looks good, but they haven't built the confidence or that belief to where they can move forward. So holding them and keeping them involved and plugged in is gonna, because when you know, and that confidence, overcomes that fear, right? And that's what's holding a lot of people back is that fear. So, just leveraging your upline, plugging them into the conference calls, plugging them into, the stuff that's going on is going to build, because someone gets off of a call and they're procrastinating, they're stuck, and they get off of a call like what we have right now with Zoom, and they get all fired up for the moment. But by tomorrow, a lot of them are going to, start the negative self-talk's going to start in on them again. Right. But, and so you have to build the person. You have to build the person. So best way to do that, I know, is, get them introduced to personal development, keeping them plugged into the system and to what's happening.
Yeah, great answer, John. Thank you. Thanks for the question, Joy. Who else has a question? If you do, just go ahead and unmute. Anybody? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, Dell unmuted right on the nick of time. Dell, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, hi, John. Thank you for what you're doing. We greatly appreciate you. I know we talked about belief. What can you tell a new person, the importance of big events? Big events.
Yes, yeah, we have a big event coming up in Maui, Hawaii, if you hadn't seen, John.
No, wow.
Yeah, big event. We've got a Super Saturday coming up, and we've got a big team in Maui. Mostly Dell's team and Christina, and we've got a lot of great stuff. So we want to make sure everybody's there. That's a great question, Dell.
Well, the answer we always give, leaders are born at events, beliefs change at events. If you look at anyone that is actually having success in this industry, events are a part of their life, right? And so success leaves clues. If you're telling me you really want to be successful here and you want to make this happen, the events are an important part of it, And so one of the biggest mistakes I think people make in our business is they spend time with the wrong people. Right now, everyone counts, and you want to, keep everyone engaged or involved, because you never know when something's going to change for them, where all of a sudden they become the right person, right? And so if you don't keep them involved, keep them, plugged in, they will disappear. But spending time with the right people, how do you know when that is? And I relate it to fishing. It's, if you're out fishing and you're going to, you get a bite and you got a fish on the line and you're pulling the fish in and you're, kind of asking yourself, I wonder if this is a big fish or not. If you got to ask, it isn't, right? If the rod is pinned to the rail and it's taken out line, then it's a big fish, right? So how do we relate that to our business? Is if the person is coming to the events, if the person is on the calls, if the person is doing the things that are required without you having to tell them to do it, without you having to ask them if they're coming to the event, you just know they're going to be there, right? And so, people that are coming to events, that's a good indication that they're serious about it, that they really want to do it. And the other thing about events is coming back to that example of everything you do. If you don't come to the events and you have a team, then they don't think it's important, so they're not going to come. And part of one of the most important aspects of our business just has broke down, right? Because you're not taking it, and if you're not attending it, then they don't think they have to attend it, and you break the duplication. So the bottom line is, if you're serious, if you really want to be successful here, if you really want this to work for you, events aren't a choice. It's a must.
Thank you, John.
I just put up on the screen some events and how to, getting plugged in. These are all the things that we're doing as a team. We've got Facebook pages and company calls and webinars, and we got this big company event coming up. It's going to be great in Orlando. I'm looking forward to everybody being there. I started a coaching program, one-on-one coaching for people serious about this business. There's so many things that you can plug into, and I often say exactly what John said. He said, that you're not going to have to wonder who these people are. They'll just do it, right? All right. Who else has a question? Anybody? Feel free to unmute. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. John, thank you very much. Feel free to stick around. I'm going to go over some nuts and bolts kind of things here for a few minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and play our traditional video. I play video at the end of it all. So thanks a million, John. I sure appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
At 11:30 Central, I'll be doing the national call, which is going to be on Zoom, right? It's going to be on Zoom. and that you should get a text on that and an email on that. And I'm going to be going into a detailed overview, but not complicated, but detailed overview on the compensation plan and how it works and how someone gets paid and the power of the plan. So I hope to see you guys on that Zoom.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, John.
Okay, bye.
Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and go over a couple of things. Let me mute everybody out, and then I'll reshare my screen. Let's see here. Bear with me for a second. Okay, all right. So let me go ahead and do the share here. Hang on one second. Okay. All right, what I want to do is I just want to, I want to share this. Oh, why isn't this sharing? Hang on. Hang on, I'm sorry. Let's do it this way. Okay, here we go. All right, what I want to do is I want to go over some important, first steps, because I know we've got some new people on here. Sorry, the screen share is not working exactly like I want it to. There we go. Some important first steps, okay? We do this every time. A lot of times I do it in the beginning, but because John was gracious enough to jump on here, I'm just going to go ahead and do this now, and then we're going to go ahead and do the training, or the video. Hang on here. I got to figure out what's going on here. All right. All right, so basic first step. As soon as you get started, and you want to make sure everybody does this, is to log into their back office, right? Log into Valentus.com. If you've got a pre-enrollee site, you go there and you use your email to log on, right? And I'm going to show you real quick how to do that. Bear with me. Okay. All right, let me switch my screen share over. It's always fun flipping back and forth between screen shares. Here we go. All right, so yeah, what do you want to do? You want to make sure to go here, make sure all new people go here, okay? And then log in. Okay, there's a username and password that you've probably got. If not, you can log in as a pre-enrollee and sign up there. I'm just going to go, let's see here. I'm going to go to this one right here, okay? All right, so here's what it looks like in the back office, okay? And what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna, a couple things, okay? You see down here, it says rotator, loyalty purchase, and then down here, it says payment options, okay? Just those three things I wanna go through really quickly, okay? And, okay, so let's see. The rotator, okay, the rotator. Now this is kind of important. We can, have a discussion later about why, the rotator is important, okay? But we want you to just, we want you to get set up correctly. So if you look on your back office and click this thing called genealogy right here, you'll see that you get this little diagram, okay? Yours is in all likelihood gonna look kind of like this right here, okay? Where you see something going on one side and not necessarily something going on the other side, okay? You've seen this right and left and all that kind of stuff, okay? So this would indicate that Jennifer here, her shared team is the right side. Now, if this was opposite, people were here and here, okay, that would indicate that her shared team is the left side, okay? So what you want to do, figure out which side you're on. You could also ask, okay? Go to rotator, okay, and then set it for the shared side, whether it's right or left. So don't leave it on alternate for right now, okay, because there's a strategy here and we want to set you up for the most success possible, okay? So that's the first thing. Set your loyalty purchase right away, or your rotator to one or the other, left or right, okay? Also, loyalty purchase. Go here under loyalty purchase. Okay, now we do have to do the bare minimum in order to qualify to get paid of 50 BV, business volume, or one product. Okay, but you don't want to do that if you want to maintain your rank and if you want to continue to accumulate what's called banked volume. Okay, I'm not going to go into that whole thing either, but you're going to want to set up your loyalty purchase right now in the beginning. Okay, it's astonishing how many people say they want to make money yet don't set their loyalty purchase. Okay, scroll down until you find generally the 3-pack or 6-pack right here. Okay, click the button that says create loyalty purchase. Okay, and you're going to set it most likely for the 1st or the 15th of the month. That would be the thing to do. I tell everybody, set it for the 1st or the 15th. All right, you can't set it any later than the 25th. And it is amazing how some people will procrastinate. Okay, so this is the first day of the month. You're going to always want to set this on one pack. I don't know why it gives you multiple options there, to be honest with you. So 1 or the 15th, and then 1 pack, and then select the products that you want to get each month on the same day. Now, if you're taking the products, using the products, you're probably going to want to make sure to get the Slim Roast Optimum. Okay, but you could try whatever products you want. But I would recommend you getting primarily the Slim Roast Optimum initially. You know, that stuff is, you know, the near miraculous product that works on just about everybody, just about all the time. Okay, so if you want to place a separate order outside of your loyalty purchase, click the word order. You don't have to change your loyalty purchase. Just click the word order here on the left. Order what you want. And remember, a couple of these products are still on limited release, the Emulin and the Cocoa. You can't add those to the packs. So if you want the Cocoa, you can only buy 1 at a time, and you do it here. Okay? If you want the Emulin, same thing. Do it here. All right, that's how you make a separate order. Now, if you want to get another Business Builder pack, simply go to Order, okay, and scroll down, and you can purchase another Business Builder pack right here and get another 350 sticks. Now, if you want to know the secret to doing this, not really the secret, but, you know, I think I'm on my 8th Business Builder pack. Okay, so if you can move a Business Builder pack in a month and do it next month and do it next month and do it next month, that will get you where you want to go very, very quickly. Okay, and lastly, on this housekeeping setup thing here. Okay, lastly would be earnings, or not earnings, payment options rather. Okay, payment options right here. Okay, so if you're in the United States, you're going to do this down here, direct deposit. You see, he's got his direct deposit set up. Make sure you've got your payment thing set up, your payment options set up. Otherwise, the money is just going to continue to accumulate. It won't go away. It'll accumulate, and you won't get paid. You know, I saw a story recently, or somebody had somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,300 or something that they hadn't gotten paid yet. Now, I don't know if some of these folks believe that they're not going to really make any money or what, but they had $1,400 sitting there. Okay, so you don't want that to happen. Set your payment options up, do your direct deposit. Okay, and then if you're outside of the U.S., you're going to want to set up Payoneer. You can do this in the U.S. too if you want. But what this is rather than pay you, I mean, since they won't be able to pay you directly into your bank account, and they can't pay cash, what they will do is they will set up a debit card, and then the money will go on the debit card, and then you can use that money. You can take cash out of the machine, or you can you know, just use it like any other credit card. Okay, and but remember, you've got to set this up. It says click here to sign up for it, and then you know, and then I'll send you an email, and then you apply, and so on. Chuck, I want to unmute you real quick before I do our video here. But Chuck, can you talk about the credit wallet really fast, okay? Yeah, go ahead. You're muted. Hang on. Hey, Chuck, you're still muted. Oop, hang on one second. Hang on. I just realized it. I can't get you unmuted. Sorry. Go ahead, Chuck. I think you can unmute now.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go to your homepage, buddy. I want to show people where it actually is. So if you've got credit, and the credit option, if you'll go down to transfer credit over there, yeah, right there, yeah. So guys, what you can do is you can move credit to your account from your next earnings, right? So, and I do that all the time. I move money into my account rather than using a credit card. I move money, so I just go, I'd like to move, I'd like to take credit the next $2,000 or the next $500, whatever it is, of my earnings to my credit account. So it just flops it over there. So yesterday I moved a couple $1,000 over there, and you've got to do it before your pay run. Once the pay run is happened, then that money is already in process going to either your bank account or whatever else you've got set up. But then, we were struggling with how do we make credit card purchases in markets that don't necessarily where all the people have credit cards, right? So, and our credit card software is very particular. It matches your home address of the credit card to your IP address. And if any of those things are off, let's say your credit card is registered at your home, at your billing address, but you happen to be somewhere else, or somebody else is using your credit card somewhere else, it automatically flags that and it won't let that transaction happen, which is why we have to clear cards. And what we were doing was clearing cards for several purchases all in a row by one person on one card, and that person was collecting dollars, right, for doing that. And it's a great thing. However, there's always challenges. There's always people that take advantage of things, and so they discontinued any type of doing multiple purchases like that. So what we discovered that we could do is somebody can send me a PayPal, right? They can go to PayPal, they can send me money, say it's $600, whatever the case is, and I can instantly then credit their account by going to my wallet, and you don't have a wallet on here, but it just gives me the ability to put in their ID number, and then it asks me how much money would I like to transfer to that person, and then it confirms that, and bam, that happens, and the money is instantly in their wallet, right? They can then go in and make any type of purchase. Yeah, there you go. Go up to your wallet, buddy.
Where is that?
Okay, so right here. So click on scroll up a little bit. Yeah, right here. You have $149.29. Yeah, click here. So you can go, I can put somebody's ID number in there. You don't really have to have their username or anything. I can create, go ahead and click on create a new account. Yeah, cool. Yeah, go ahead. So what that, it gives me the enroller's name. I can make them a preferred customer, or if I pull that drop down, I can make them an independent rep. So I can sign them up basically right there, right? Wow. And right in your back office. And depending upon where your rotator is set, that's where that new person is going to go. Down your left leg, down your right leg, right? I can put in your, go ahead, Mitch.
Learn something every day.
Yeah. So this is a great tool, and it really does alleviate the problem for credit cards and all of those things. So
wow. Well, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so and then one other thing I just want to mention is that you always get an email when somebody signs up. You always get an email, and they always, or they sign up or become a preferred customer, or they upgrade. So no matter if somebody does something and it's attached to you, you always get an email. So when you say, some people will say, listen, I didn't get, I can't see where this customer is showing up, right? And they will show up if they're not showing up on your contact manager, something is going on. Okay, so I'm going to actually play a very, very short video for y'all today. I think this is really funny, and it's really kind of inspiring, okay, if you haven't seen it. So we're going to keep it short. I'm glad everybody was here today. That was an amazing talk by John, and we had some great questions as well. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and I will open it up one more time after we're all done and I stop the recording. So hang tight. Maybe.
Friends, and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. And you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that. You wake up the next day and you go, down, and you say where you were going to meet, and everybody's there. So you get in the van and you're like, oh my God, oh my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you fly and you go up, you go up, you go up, you go up to 14,000 feet, and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open, and you're looking out down to death. And they say, on 3, and they say, 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3, and you go, and you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. There's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. Why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. The best things in life on the other side of terror, on the other side of your maximum fear, are all of the best things in life.
Well, listen, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. I've got it where you can unmute if there's any one quick question or anything. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and hang on one quick second here. I'm going to stop the recording.